Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and hello from Edinburgh. My name is Paul Thompson, and tonight I'm going to talk to you about a little bit about the area of art in Second Life. I think there's kind of an immense number of questions that sort of surround this, and in the short period of time tonight, I can't really provide you any answers, but perhaps it's the questions that are important. As a student on the MA Digital Arts Online programme with Camberwell College of Arts, University of Arts London, we are frequently, as a group of students, discussing the extent and implications of art, the boundaries within the digital domain, and you know, we meet in a cyber existence through a virtual chat room as part of the university's virtual learning environment. So, you know, we're kind of immersed in that sort of technology, and I think it's kind of interesting that here we are, we're trying to practice art form and experiment with that art form through the digital domain. In looking at Second Life, we're seeing a representation of a virtual world which people join for a variety of reasons, and I know colleagues will question the boundaries between First and Second Life, and just why perhaps people are there or not, and how representational that Second Life is as a First. But certainly we're seeing a kind of a mirror type thing starting to happen, and in researching this topic I sort of Googled away. And one of the first things I came up with was articles from the Reuters office in Second Life. So, you know, here we go, a news agency already there. Here are a few sort of statistics from Reuters, and it's quite interesting to note that in their article of April the 13th, 2007, which was posted at 1:04 p.m. PDT. And this is a part of an article from Rubina Reuters. The large silver well leaked blue fog from the centre of the room. As the avatars whispered their words, each letter floated away, escaping into the sky. The letter well is one of the several scripted sculptures created by Second Life artist Annabeth Robinson. Another titled "You Demand Too Much of Me" decays when avatars are around and reappears when it is left alone. New unique works of art like Robinson's can be found throughout Second Life, which has thousands of artists creating works in the digital realm. Making money by selling art in Second Life isn't any easier than it is in real life, but in a world without hunger, at least there aren't any starving artists. An interesting starting point, yeah. I mean, and in further researching around this, one comes up with people's personal virtual galleries where they're showing their photographs or performing their music or what have you, and all of a sudden there's quite a rich cultural perspective. You know, we'll not look at it critically, and we won't make, and I don't think we should make any commentary this evening on quality or intent of what's going on, but I think the very fact that this activity is taking place it certainly speaks volumes in terms of the way in which perhaps we're getting communication of what is artistic intent from individuals on a stage that they believe control themselves. To just paint the picture a bit further, I mean, to look at a few statistics behind this, again quoting from Rubina Reuters' article from Second Life, then the number of art galleries in Second Life has rapidly grown in just the past year. According to Steinbeck, when she joined the virtual world 15 months ago, they could all fit on one note card, and now there are more than 220 of them. So, you know, I mean, if this was a comparable increase in galleries, say in a major city in Europe, it would become highly newsworthy. Most of the galleries apparently aren't making a profit, but there are a handful of well-known Second Life artists who are doing well commercially, Reuters goes on to say. And I think this starts to raise some interesting questions, because fundamentally within Second Life, in the short time that I've actually had a an existence within that, and incidentally my existence within Second Life is Forest Man Tom Sen, then it seems there's an opportunity to spend money on every corner. That at some point somebody wants to get a Linden dollar off you. For those of you who are perhaps not au fait with this, that you can purchase Linden dollars which you can spend in Second Life, presumably using your credit card, which then charges you in your own currency. So therefore you would be able to purchase your artworks in your Second Life art gallery as well. Additionally, in researching this sort of article for this event, I was again googling around and came across the Second Life Art News blog. And the Second Life Art News blog, just to read you some of the entries from the last wee while. And this starts from as recently as Saturday, June the 9th, 2007. That it's Second Life's 4th birthday, and for the 4th birthday party, they're planning an arts festival. So get your work in as fast as you can. Although it is a little disorganised, so any volunteers could gratefully help. On Thursday the 7th of June, there's a folk festival at Mill Pond. Second Life is about to expand out into real life with the help of full-scale virtual folk festival. The beautiful Mediterranean towns of Mill Pond and Stone Hill are gearing up for a breathtaking 2-day celebration of art and live music, kicking off at 3 p.m. SLT on Friday, June the 8th. Nearly 40 live musicians playing at 3 stages throughout the Mill Pond and Stone Hill areas. This event has gathered artists from Canada, Australia, Europe and the United States. There are some of SL's best singer-songwriters, with Montian Gilruth, Montreola Moody, Lyndon Hart and Dale Boyle being just some of the names participating. There's an advance notice of an opening night here, an opening night for the SLL Pantheon Performance Hall. The show must go on. Show must go on, a variety show with many performers, which is over half an hour long, opens on Info Island at the SSL Pantheon Performance Hall on Saturday 9th of June at 4 p.m. More entries here for the show must go on. And then from that, the photography studio of Grignano. Alfonso and Ned judged the photography studio of Grignano's metal photography contest. Our entries go on then to identify that Second Life at lulu.com has the following entry. For those of you who don't know lulu.com, it's a website where you can make books and put them up for sale. The first artist writer who the author learned about, who made Second Life books for sale at lulu.com, is Scrapbook. His first is a look at SL in general, while his second is a chronicle of every build in Burning Life 06. He has the books in Wired at Grigano Books. First one is free. The BL06 book is Linden dollars 95. We'll move on here. Apparently on Monday the 14th of May 2007 there was a triple exhibition. This was the entry anyway, and it said that the exhibition would open on May the 19th at 4 p.m. SLT at the Aho Museum on the NMC campus, which will host an exhibit of 3 very and amazing artists. Featured during this exhibit will be Nobody Yap. His installation One Life was created for a college project. Also featured Autopilot Patty Poppy, an amazing photographer, and Esh Snotes, an awesome graphic designer photographer. The NMC campus is a group of private sims. You'll need to join the NMC guest group to view these exhibits. Okay, so I think you kind of get the picture of the style and the entries that we're getting in there. But you know, I mean, if we think about the fact that already Reuters have created their Second Life instance in there, how long is it going to be then before we have Second Life Guggenheim and the Second Life Rockefeller Foundation, or the Pompidou Second Life, and so on and so forth? And I mean, I'm tongue firmly stuck in my cheek here, but I think there's likely to be some form of incidence of that. If we look at it in seriousness, I mean, we already have Tate Online, so that's a virtual existence of a very august body. Therefore, it doesn't take too much of a mental leap to see perhaps Tate Online extending into Tate Second Life. why not indeed? You know, it's entirely feasible and possible. So I think we're then starting to raise some questions, because if we were to take an organisation such as one of the major international contemporary art galleries into Second Life, you're then going to be entering into the area of curation of art in Second Life, and to a certain extent, some of these early models that we're seeing in Second Life are already doing that. I think, you know, I mean, certainly if writers have a staff writer that has a real life persona and is preparing this material in Second Life, there must be some form of economic sense to that. So the mental leap for the idea of the Second Life curator isn't a great one. I think, though, however, that's where we're going to start to see some implications for the artists or art practitioners. And it's perhaps the way in which we need to view the work that we make. Traditionally, or for centuries, you know, I mean, art was often sort of viewed as a fairly sort of static type thing. Though, you know, we had paintings and we had sculptures or whatever, and in some respects that art was a product of a process of conservation. You know, it was the idea that oil painting was produced fat over lean and put onto prepared canvases, which were sized with rabbit skin glue and so on and so forth, and framed in a certain way, were all designed to develop the longevity of that artwork and to provide the sort of the value of it. I think it's probably therefore interesting to start looking at what is the longevity of the intention of the work when it exists in Second Life. I mean, currently, as I see Second Life, it seems to be a fairly young-seeming and or appearing place. Certainly, there's a certain degree of body beautiful. I mean, I was with my avatar trying to emulate my body shape and style, and didn't succeed because it's not difficult. It's not easy to make a middle-aged 50-year-old male avatar. It's much easier to make a sort of a cyberpunk in probably 18 to 20-year-old form, which was quite flattering, and that's what I did in the end. But and that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. So if it's quite a quick and short-term lifestyle within the Second Life, is that then to be the incidence of the art that we might see there? What is the longevity of that art? And here I've got a little bit of an interesting crossover between this kind of discourse I'm giving you this evening on the idea of art in Second Life and art in the digital domain and its relationship to art in First Life or the real world. Recently I've been looking at a paper by Susan Morris which is entitled Museums and New Media Art, which is actually a research report which was commissioned by the Rockefeller Foundation and published in October 2001. Susan Morris is a cultural producer and media consultant, and her credits include BBC America, World Lab and Artbyte magazine. In the publication, there's a whole section which, you know, is dealing with the whats and wherefores of new media art within the established art communities. And in commissioning new media art, Morris says that museums have looked into several familiar ways of categorising art. To categorise it as original, unique work of art, to categorise as an addition, or to categorise as a performance. She goes on to expand on this, that if a museum thinks about new media as an original artwork, it is approached as a single finite work that is not to be replicated. Therefore, it has a sole owner, a sole venue, and a single iteration. Secondly, a museum could think of its new media art as an addition. It's viewed similar to photography, print and film and video. Generally, there is a limited number of works made by the artist and each is nearly identical. The third model views new media like a live performance, however. It's ephemeral, exists as an experience in time, which vanishes after completion, unless recorded for posterity. Morris goes on to point out that the Whitney curator Christiane Paul says new media art is like performance because the artwork has been transformed into a structure that relies on a constant flux of information and engages the viewer or collaborator the way a performance might. I think this is really quite interesting, and possibly, you know, the hub of that latter one may hold some answers for the way in which we actually present, document and curate our art in the cyber domain. Clearly there has to be some implication for the artist to state their intention within that, or there could be an intention anyway, and I think that then will start to inform how we look at the training of our artists, certainly the ones that are practicing within that cyber domain. At this stage, though, we're starting to develop more questions than answers, and perhaps that's appropriate. I think it's worth sort of reflecting on the idea that you know, for 50 years after the invention of the printing press, the book didn't really exist in the way in which we understand the book to exist now. Therefore, we can possibly see a whole series of different models developing and evolving, and whether we get one format or not is another matter. I think I was reading or watching a video by Brian Eno when he was talking about his recent artworks which were installed in the Baltic and I think it was Sainsbury's building or something. And you know, I mean, Eno makes the point that you know, it's only in the last 100 years that we've recorded things, and that we've looked to see some form of permanence in these what are essentially performed structures. I think it might be easy for us to be dismissive of Second Life, possibly because of its popularist structure and form, and that's fair enough. You know, I mean, EastEnders, is it drama or is it popular entertainment? These are sort of quandaries and questions that we have. But I think Second Life is important because of what it represents, and it represents what is the beginning of a physical manifestation of this cyber existence, which, I mean, if one takes it into account that, you know, we are in the West pretty well digitised in terms of our national insurance number, bank accounts, police records, Tesco club card points and all the rest of it, then, you know, that extension into some form of virtual front end whereby we have an avatar, and that avatar can react and interact with others, whether that be in singing, dancing, performing, art form or what have you, is really quite an interesting sort of prospect. Already, of course, we've got Flickr, where we can store our high resolution images, and we've got YouTube and Google Video and what have you, where we've got the repositories of the films we make and that sort of thing, and you know, we're getting video on demand. So really, you know, I mean, when we start to see the convergence of all these areas, whether it's entertainment or whether it's lifestyle, is a really very interesting debate, and I think that's the one which is going to really inform how we make and deliver and perform our art, whether it be in Second Life or whether it be through any other form of digital or cyber function. So hopefully I've posed a few questions this evening and have a few thoughts about it, and take that away from the evening. Thanks very much indeed from Edinburgh, and I hope you have a nice evening. Goodbye.